welcome to another episode of Liqvd Talks. Today's guest is very special to me personally, not because he has been my boss in one of my assignments. It's somebody who is an ad man turned content creator turned entrepreneur, now taking a company to public offering. Dr. Atul Hegde. Atul, welcome to my show. Thank you so much for...
Thank you so much, Arnab. I'm very excited. It just makes me proud every time I come into Liqvd to see how much you have moved. It's very rare because I worked with lots of professionals. Very few of them have gone on to become entrepreneurs, and you're one of those very few. So it's always special catching up with you.
So like we always do, there is a theme that we have set up for this episode as well. From ad floors to IPO, the legacy, the Instagram feed, and the future.
Sounds good.
Theme of our entire episode. The first segment, from those big screen commercials to micro reels. How has life changed?
Previously, we got onto something, it lasted for 2-3 years. Now it lasts for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If you're lucky and it's successful, it lasts for a month. Change is the only constant, and that's pretty much with our industry. The scale has become bigger. As you all know, the way digital today is the largest category for spends in India, in the advertising bucket. Geo has changed. So from looking at it, we now do across countries. It's still the same, and that's what keeps me going.
Recently, we got to know that Mr. Piyush Pandey passed away, and we're speaking about all the old ads that they have kind of shaped the narrative and they've kind of created culture, right? Do you feel that somewhere now the fate of the work that we are doing is actually a function of a platform and not so much about, at what depth has it gone and connected with the consumer?
I got into advertising mid-90s, impacted social fabric, impacted culture a lot. Today it's across 100 things. So it could be TikTok, it could be Instagram, it could be all of it put together. Today is how do you control conversations? So cultural impact in communication is still there, but it's no longer defined to that one big film that happened, in the first 15 years of my career.
Any of your work or any of the campaign that you believe just perfectly can be used today?
I think all of them can be used today. I remember we did a fantastic film for L&T. L&T still uses that line, "Hum banate hain, wo Bharat ki shaan hai."
Correct.
Most successful campaigns in my early days was for Sony Max. And the campaign was Deewana Bana De, right? Because Indians are mad about cricket and movies.
What made you believe that YAP could actually break that form? Is it just where the industry moved, or you personally believe that that format needs to change?
Sometimes in the 2000s, the late Pradeep Goa actually put together a team of 20-25 CEOs in advertising and took all of us to Silicon Valley. And we visited Google, we visited Yahoo, which was very big at that point of time. We visited Facebook, and we were just amazed to see these new companies. And I came back, the first thing I said that I'm done with mainline. I'm going to bet on digital. And that time it was really betting on digital pennies versus the mainline dollars. Two things we did when we started off YAP. Everything we do has to be the brand at the center. The acquisitions that we did, our first acquisition as YAP was a design company. It was the Delhi part of Elephant Design. Even 10 years back, digital was still the second act. You wanted to brief your mainline agency and then the client would spend time. When we were going to set up YAP, there's no CEO in YAP. I'm not the CEO. It's a partnership model. So we have senior partners who run it. Senior partners is either defined by a geo or is defined by a capability. At that time, it felt that yes, you're doing something different, but yet you're sticking to your core. But yeah, one thing led to the other, and here we are.
What has been the hardest part of this? To convince the brand that this is how it could be done?
The hardest part was to decide to be an entrepreneur. Biggest regret today when I look back is I should have been an entrepreneur at least 5 years before. Once you take that call, you are in that ride, it's taken off, then you have to, it's like throwing somebody in the deep end, they'll figure out how to swim. When we started off, we had 3-4 accounts who told us we are with you. In fact, I remember winning a couple of accounts even before the company was registered. Anything substantial takes time to build. You cannot build it in a hurry.
2 years from now, right? Where do you see YAP? And you told me that you don't have a plan for that.
People laugh at me when I say that. I believe in a decade, we can build $1 billion market cap in the services industry. People like you and me, entrepreneurs who are independent in this space, need to come back. Look at all the global giants in advertising. India is a 100,000 crore market today. 92% of it is controlled by foreigners. Why? Dentsu got built because of Japanese brands. Publicis Havas got built because of French brands. IPG got built because of British brands and American brands. We have still not realized our powers. Why do large companies still work with the foreign companies? I mean, tomorrow if our government, which is the largest spender on digital, decides that I will only invite Indian companies to do that. They do that. They do that in defense. They do that in some sectors. It's just that we haven't come together as an industry and said, why should a government of India work with a WPP? And today you can see that if the Home Ministry of the country can do a tweet saying, I'm now on Zoho,
right,
and not on Google, the same should apply for independent advertising agencies. So I think for me, next 24 months is business as usual. Stability is the key word. Growth will happen.
Just for my viewers, if you guys don't follow him as yet, the Sneaker Monk is his Instagram handle. I am very, very envious of his sneaker collection. Every time I say this, he gifts me a sneaker. I hope he does it again. I think you have built a clean, sharp, and aesthetic luxury Instagram story. Just asking that, from doing that for others to do it for yourself, was it any different, or no, this is something that has happened because it's just who you are?
So I've been collecting sneakers for more than a decade. You know that. Wherever I go, I interact with people on sneakers, and it's a passion now, which really gives me joy. Everything that you see that I talk about is after I have consumed it.
Right.
Which is why I feel that, it's me. We have some of the best design elements from centuries, right? I mean, look at our temples, look at our ancient work. Traditionally, there was this thinking that India, everything has to be chaos. Big Bazaar was built as a, bazaar. Not now anymore. I forget the brand that Tatas have launched, which is a Zara fighter. I mean, it's cheaper than Zara, but the aesthetics are more than Zara.
Zudio, right?
Zudio. You'll be amazed the kind of friends I've made in the last 5 years and now in the last 1 year after I've written this, who are just passionate about anything to do in the luxury space.
I understand it's a completely different economy which is happening at the parallels, right? Give us some knowledge about that economy, that now that you're part of it, right?
80% of all budgets must be going to 500 to 800 creators. Everybody forgets that we call them influencer marketing, but we choose them for reach and not influence. 28,000 people on my community. On an average, I get about 8 to 10 brand opportunities every month. So I feel that the big change in the next 2 years is the fact that it's going to be the long tail of creators. Today, with the same people, there's brand fatigue, right? Because the same person is talking about one thing, next day they're talking about some other brand. Today, analytics will tell you which kind of creator is good for your brand. What have they done in your category? Virat Kohli's page was a great bad example. Maybe he's behind only Ronaldo in guys. His Instagram was the most rubbish Instagram community you could ever see. There was no personal touch. Everything was a paid. And yet people were going because he's Virat Kohli. I mean, it was such a shame. And brands were paying in crores. Luckily, they realize this, but that's a great example how of overkill even for India's largest sporting star or the largest influencer.
How does a creator become scalable? Honestly, brands look at reach as the primary metric or engagement rate, and these are very matter of fact, like right at the bottom rank kind of a KPI, is to understand that, okay, this creator is going to fade away pretty soon. Is there a lens like that, or it's just a quiet taste of knowledge you built over a period of time?
After doing these reels and all, I now do a luxury column every weekend for a luxury magazine in Dubai, which is part of Khaleej Times. So the Lux magazine is something that I write for. Yeah, and every Saturday it comes out, I write on luxury. Now for me, that is scaling up, right? Most platforms is a lottery. If anybody comes to say that I will tell you how to build, it's all a scam. No one knows. If you see the founder of Instagram, they themselves don't know what's happening, right? The only thing which is true, which most of these people have told us, you have to be consistent. From a brand's point of view, I think fatigue is the biggest challenge. Overcrowd is biggest challenge. It's like doing a brand ambassador. If somebody signed with 50 brands, the 51st brand needs to think, do I really need them? But the real gold mine, which very few brands and agencies are pushing, is the long tail.
How important is personal branding in all of this? I see a lot of people doing a lot more to build their personal brand, right? The Shark Tank is a great example where a lot of CXOs build their brand and therefore they pull their brand more than any of their marketing activities. So how important is it?
Look at all the successful founders around you. They're very good content creators. So that's a must. Look at you. You started your podcast, right? You recognized it, that it's important. Build a strong personal brand. Extremely important. So I would say it's a must, because in the next 5 years, more than 10,000 companies in India are going to get listed. To answer your question, I would place it as one of the top 3 things today that a founder, CEO, entrepreneur should be doing.
What do you think in this digital era, a lot of people sitting in Bombay, Delhi, marketers especially, are not getting right about the Indian audience?
So I feel that there are a lot of people who are getting it right. The ones who are not getting it right are just following the herd. We spent a lot of time in the market with the consumer, because today everything is available. ChatGPT, tell me about this.
Yeah, nobody's talking to the customer.
Yeah, so even if I buy online, I want to go and spend time in the retail, look at brands. I go for sneaker meetups, attend events.
If you had to launch a homegrown brand, what would be your blueprint to do that? And if it's a luxury product?
So luxury to launch in India is very, very difficult. Today a Manish Malhotra or a Sabyasachi, is available globally. Chefs have not built here. They have gone. Like, look at somebody like a Himanshu who's built Dressing Studio. The only 3 Michelin Indian chef in the world. Same with Gagan. He built it in Bangkok. But, designers have gone. They've taken their craft. I was amazed that, I was on an Emirates flight. First time I saw an Indian brand in the in-flight duty-free magazine selling, which was Forest Essential, which is a big thing. Look at a niche thing which can really be luxury is Pashmina. It's something that we can be authentic about. Every luxury customer wants that. I mean, the reason D2C brands are not so successful in India, while we hear so much about them, there are 2 crore customers who are buying all of this online.
Yeah.
So everybody is selling to that same
audience.
But if I had to build a luxury brand, this is how I would go about it. Spend a lot of time on the product first, then on the branding, and then really have an exclusivity, scarcity around it, right? And give it time.
I call the segment is what they don't teach at the advertising school. Suppose a 24-year-old planner reaches your cabin in your office. What is the first thing you would ask them to forget when you meet them first time?
I don't know about what to forget, but first thing I will tell them is that, have you read today's newspaper? Very few people you will find today whose GQ is high. Right? Quizzing as an art is dying. Why? Because in our business, that's most important. On social media, the news you get depends on what you
exactly what do you consume.
Yeah,
not know when it happened.
Correct. Know about politics, know about sports, know about films, know about arts, know about what's happening in your city. Right? Because our business is to build different brands. Today it will be oil, tomorrow it will be a car, day after tomorrow it will be travel. So you have to be aware.
Phases for you, agency guy, working for others, then set up your own agency, then investor. I remember Rainmaker Ventures. Is that what you see?
That is what it is.
And then currently a content creator, now an IPO bound founder of Yap. What did you learn in all of these?
I was lucky that I started on a brand like Philips. I was lucky that I had some of the best bosses and the best mentors that you cannot engineer. I remember I used to work a lot with Harsha Bogle. He said in life, there's a great place for the non-striker. Because without the non-striker, the striker is irrelevant. Yeah. Be a leader, yet be that non-striker, and bet on people who are younger than you. That really stayed with me, and entrepreneurship teaches you. Right? When you do multiple ventures, you are betting on different founders. Instead of saying that now I'm going to conquer the world in the next 10 years, I said, now I'm going to work with 10 other people who are going to conquer the world.
Yeah. One leadership thought that you think truly believe in and stayed with you and continues to stay with you?
Sacrifice. And by sacrifice, I don't mean that take less money. In the 40s, the sacrifice was, it's no longer about feeding your ego. It's about working with others. And I'm very tempted to pick up this account, but I know it's the most horrible client in the city. It will destroy my agency.
Right.
Let's not do that. It's your best person, but he's saying they want a 500% hike or they will leave, let them go. But a true leader is somebody who can demonstrate sacrifice. And if you're able to demonstrate that in good times, in difficult times, by force, you might have to sacrifice.
Correct.
So for me, that is the single biggest learning trait that for me as a leader and what I look in entrepreneurs going ahead.
Tell us about 3 sneakers, your pick.
My all-time favorite is something called the Red Octobers. Okay, it's designed by Kanye West. Yeezy, as we all know, is the brand that he created and we associated with Adidas. For 2 years or 3 years, Yeezy was part of Nike. So this was actually the first Yeezy that he created with Nike. It was a limited edition drop. I have an unworn piece, what we call as dead stock in the sneaker. I think they launched it at some $160. I think today it is upwards of $30,000.
Oh, wow.
The next one is actually not a particular sneaker, but it's a collection which Virgil Abloh is no longer there. He created this collaboration for Louis Vuitton. So I was happy that Louis Vuitton invited me not once but thrice. Third would be actually Jordan 1s, and I don't like Jordan 1s. But again, Virgil has an off-white. Virgil is no more, so there's no more of those pairs happening.
I mean, it's not an exaggeration, but Atul has got a separate house for his shoes. And I'm aware of that. I've never got a tour of that.
You're most welcome to come and see it.
So we move to the last segment, the absolute rapid fire. Whatever comes in your mind. Greatest Indian ad campaign ever.
I think the Pidilite series I love.
Biggest flex moment in your career so far.
My sticker collection.
I'll lose everything to get that.
Yeah, I have no qualm saying it. It's one of the best, at least in our country.
Algorithm or gut?
Gut.
A creator you respect for always being original.
I love Zakir Khan, what he does. For some, he's a poet. For some, he's a stand-up. For some, he's a musician. So much mass following and yet managed to be authentic.
If Yap had a billboard in Manhattan, what would it say?
The wrong place, guys. All the actions happening in India.
One luxury collab you would kill to make happen.
I would love to see a Sabyasachi Dior coming together to create something which is really, really exclusive.
In one line, 5 years from now, you.
Same inquisitiveness for new things, much more sneakers.
So thank you so much for being here, Atul. It was great talking to you and fantastic answers for everybody. So that's all from this episode of Lit. Keep watching. Thank you for subscribing to Lit.